All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome on this rainy Sunday evening. And it is indeed raining because we know Sundays are those days where when you were a kid and you couldn't go outside, you get a stack of comic books, pile up in your room, jump on the bed, and go into some different little worlds depending on what you were reading and stuff. Maybe have a little radio playing. Some nice little oldies playing when you could hear like the rain hitting the roof a little bit, nice, soft, and relaxing, much easier to disappear. And we're going to be seeing me throw this cat around a little bit. Not mean, but she's into everything. He's into everything. Lester's ready to chew on everything that I have set up here to watch. And now here comes the other cat. They're all coming around. So anyway, hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend here. And normally I would be hitting flea markets and stuff like I do every year, Hillsville Flea Market, maybe an antique shop or something. People load up because they know people are hitting the road during the holidays. But I did a little traveling. I ended up going to Abingdon, Virginia to RobCon 2022. I want to say it might be close to the 30th appearance. All these cats are trying to chew my stuff over here. It's amazing. But anyway, he hadn't had one for the last 2 years due to the pandemic, and it was really great to have him. He was at a college in Abingdon, Virginia. Some of the stars that were there were Charles Vess, Amanda Burse of Married with Children fame, Marcy Darcy. She was in Fright Night. Jake the Snake Roberts, some character actor that's been on all kinds of shows like Star Trek and stuff. I had no idea who he was. Rags Morales had canceled. And I'm sure there's a few other ones, but I ended up talking to Charles Vess a little bit shortly, for a short time. Bought some stuff, got him to sign about 20 comics because the last time he had signed anything for me and I'd really actually sit down and talk to him despite him living locally was like in 1991, and I actually showed him. I might do that in a separate video. But I showed him the sketchbook I bought off of him in 1991 and how he had signed it stuff. Very little interest in stuff, right? But it was a great turnout. Things were awesome. So I might as well start where I was talking with Charles Vess. So I ended up buying this off of him at his little stand there. And of course, he signed it for me. Talked a little bit about the movie Hook. I mentioned I knew Scott Connor of Cavern of Chaos fame, our show here and on Jared's channel mostly nowadays. What a lot of people don't know is Charles Vess, Scott Connor, and Mike Kaluta are actually all friends. Scott has told a few stories about going to New York, hanging out with Charles Vess, and Mike Kaluta has this amazing apartment that's kind of legendary and stuff, like where it's just full of all kinds of stuff that when he gets creative, he just looks around his room and there's something in every nook and cranny and stuff to inspire him. And he kind of said the same thing that Scott did. He just kind of chuckled and went, oh yeah, Kaluta's apartment, us sleeping on the floor. Didn't go into the detail about the story. I couldn't really pull a lot out of Vess and stuff, but he acknowledged and knew Scott. He talked a little bit about adapting the Hook movie back like 30 years ago for comics, then the adaptation for that. Like, how did that happen? Anything I popped up and talked to him about, he was like, they called me. That's as good as the stories went. But I kind of saw him talking to several other people and stuff, but I think they were looking through his original art and things like that. So anyway, I got his book of ballads. This is when he started self-publishing. I think started in 95. I think, and you can see all the great authors there that contributed to this, and he drew all this in Abingdon, Virginia in his studio, from what I understand. I had a few issues of this as it came out. It's all black and white, fantasy, Valiant fantasy illustrations, prose, straight up stories, Jeff Smith, and and things like that. So it's just fantastic stuff. You want to be on camera. So Lester here has decided he wants to sit there and show us things. Hey, Scott. Yeah, your ears should have been burning, Scott. Scott Connor's here. Yeah, we had a very short conversation about you, include us, Scott. Yeah. So anyway, here's Lester, and he's just all over the books over here and the prints. So I got him to sign that. And then the other person that was there was Bob McLeod. He's a famous inker, and he penciled a few things. he was charging $5 for the first autograph and then $10 per autograph after that. So I got one book signed. I might show that later on, but it was his first pencils in a comic book ever for Marvel. That's why I picked it. I took 2 or 3 books there, but I got this print off of him and he signed it. And basically got the print off of him because when I was a kid, and I replaced this a couple years ago, but when we had the big Marvel Treasury editions, this is one of them that I just got lost in every Sunday and stuff. So I have the print. Here's what's sad. Oh, it's stuck there. So what got me is I have a print of one of the Craven Hunt, if you remember the Craven's Hunt storyline, of one of the Spider-Man good grief! What? One of the Craven's Hunt Spider-Man issues, and Zach had drawn it, so I bought it off him, signed it. If I had thought ahead, I would have took the print there because Bob McLeod also inked that cover, but missed opportunity. But still got a great print. That'll be framed. What we got here? Grotto's here. What's up? Rob Rip is here. What's up, Tim? Good to see you, brother. Hey, I just uploaded a new acoustic blues song you may want to hear on the channel. I actually think I got the alert last night, but I've been on the road because after I went to RobCon, I drove about an hour away. I think it was about an hour to Boone, North Carolina. Got up this morning, drove an hour and a half back to work, worked about 4 hours, came in, took care of things around the house, so I'll definitely be watching that. All right, Niobe Comics is here. What's going on? Great to see everybody, right? So since I'm going to go ahead and just start with the other thing, I purchased something, and I didn't even try to haggle for it, because what I'm starting to realize is I probably hit my first comic book shop in 1988 or 89, and it was Mountain Empire Comics. And that's why it's called RobCon, because Rob is the guy that owns Mountain Empire Comics. It started out on a sidewalk. 2005, 2006, I had tables there. So anyway, here over 30 years or more. He ended up in Viking Hall, in a little stadium in Kingsport, and then he was taking up a whole learning center at the college and stuff. He just gets bigger and bigger, and it's just fantastic, right? So what I'm starting to realize is I have made it almost over 30 some years of knowing Rob, and I never asked him to dinner. We've had ups and downs sort of and stuff, but whenever I go in there, we pick up the conversation kind of where we left. We're on Facebook together. And I feel kind of bad because I've never asked to go hang out. And it just sort of took me by surprise when I started realizing this. Last couple of times I've seen him, he's referred to me as old friend and stuff, right? And then the dealers there. Got relationships with some of these dealers going on for 20 years that sell things, right? So I didn't try to haggle this guy, a guy named Bond. And I've seen him in Pikeville, Kentucky. I've seen him in Roanoke. I've seen him in a North Carolina show. It's just wild, the same dealer. And I was getting ready to bring it up to him, and he was already in a conversation about how a lot of us have known each other and stuff, thanks to these comics, and sort of have these weird relationships that pick up from the last con that we've seen them. So anyway, I went ahead and got this off of him, and he wanted specifically to be sure that when I read this, to let him know what I thought the next con I see him at, because this is supposed to be a great read. This is a DC special, super special, I think is what it is. A DC spectacular, but it's famous because it's the Death of Jonah Hex. This has been one of those books I've wanted off and on for 20 years since I found out about it and stuff, right? And I've kind of kept an eye out for it. I've seen it overpriced for the condition. I've seen it in poor condition. I've seen it just overpriced in general. And I saw it, told him I might be back for it. I took probably like 10 steps, went to another dealer. And then we started talking about Jonah Hex, and I had to go back and get it. Didn't even haggle with him, just got it. So I have the Death of Jonah Hex. This is probably what I'll be cracking open to read tonight out of everything that I've gotten here. Yep, Lead Paint is saying it is. Paulo Costa is here. Good evening, Lead Paint. The Jonah Hex Spectacular is a great read. Yes, it is overpriced. Okay. But no, I'm looking forward to this. I've been waiting for a while just to sit down and read about this. This has been referenced, I think, if I read this, like in they had Jonah Hex, believe it or not, pop up in the Batman animated series. There, I've seen Jonah Hex pop up as they actually stuffed his body like gruesome stuff, and he's been there. I don't know. So hopefully they're doing that. Now I got 12 books for $10 from one dealer, and then everything else is 50 cents. Because as soon as I got to the con, I was there. They didn't let anybody in till 9 o'clock, and I got there about 10 till 9. And the first thing I wanted to do was I sort of wanted to get the books that I took, about 20 books, 22 books. Web of Spider-Man #1, Spider-Man, I think 277 or 287 or something, that which Vess had a backup story in and did the cover. There was a Web of Spider-Man annual that Vess got the cover, and Art Adams did the interiors, and the New Mutants popped up. And if you know, Sandman stuff, the Dreaming, a lot of people don't know that Alan Moore called him up out of the blue, and he did a few pages in Propecia #4. I mean, I really got 22 books. And I wanted to get that out of the way so I could get them signed and get them back out to the car and get in and buy some books. Well, he was setting up, had about 20 minutes. I found a guy that had 50-cent bins, and I could not believe it. First thing I found, first thing I hit, and man, it was a good thing that I got there early, man, because about an hour or two later, when more people came, you could not touch the boxes. So a lot of the stuff is filler that I got. I think I just need 2 issues of the Dreaming series. That went for 60 issues. I've talked about the Dreaming. About the first 20, 21, 22 issues, they would have story arcs that lasted 1 to 3 issues, and it was rotating teams. People come in, pick characters from Neil Gaiman's Sandman, because the Sandman had ended with his death. And these are Dave McKean covers. Showing them in a video and showing them to you guys it will not. My man RobCon was in Abingdon, Virginia, but anyway, they don't do them, justice and stuff to see these, right? And I had like the first 12, 13 issues forever, picked up a random issue here and there. So I just decided, I ran across them a few weeks ago for a great price compared to what I have. I now need 2 issues, I think. But yeah, these were 50 cents a piece. So I was like, why not get them? But around issue 21, 22, 23, they made it a comic book proper. Had the supporting cast of Cain, Abel, Eve, Corinthian. Everybody was coming in there. And then they had the Daniel version of Sandman popping up in it as a character also, finally, right? So these are just fill-in issues of the Dreaming. And like I said, you might like it, you might not. So this wasn't so much a mistake, but this was an 8-issue miniseries. Who's going to show up? Anyway, at the bottom, this says 1 of 8. For some reason, going through all those books, anybody, Scott and Connor can attest, what I end up doing is I just go through and I pick out any book that catches my eye that I might need, may need, or whatever. I get a huge stack, and then I spend some time shrinking the stack, trying to make sure what I really want, what do I really need, and the whole process and stuff, right? Well, this one slipped through because I need the 8th issue of the Marvels Project to read. This series came out, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. Who knows? But anyway, I ended up finding, I think around 2010 or 11, I found a comic book shop that were selling all their books for $25. And I found I found like $800 worth of variant covers that were like priced $15 to $35, all for $25. And there were a bunch of these in there. Someone in a video or something saw me show them in a video or mention them. They were like, you have to read this series. This is supposed to be fantastic. So I'm not going to read it until I know I have all the issues. And I think I need number 8, but that's another number 1. They all have multiple covers on them. Azrael, a character I don't care for. He never grabbed me or anything, right? But this is the DC 1 million, and it never fails, because whenever Azrael comes up at a con or something like that, there are always people who are hardcore fans trying to get that. I see this sometimes. I see people trying to get Bronze Age Supergirl issues in Adventure Comics, and I see people trying to get Azrael, and I try to see people trying to get other things, the Hellblazer, things like that. They're always searching for a complete set of this. There are people who just love this Azrael. The last con I went to in Salem, one of my friends, Chris, was so proud because he found some Azrael issues and stuff. He was done. Yeah, filling out my Quasar, just picking these up. These are a little bit low grade, but I'm so close to having this series completed. Might as well do it. 50 cents a piece, just chipping away at it. Quasar it's more about Mark Grunwald. Mark Grunwald sort of took these C and D list characters and he pulled a little bit of Jim Starlin. And then where they're such low grade characters, he can have things happen to them and some messed up stuff happen to Wendell Vaughn here, our Quasar. And then all of a sudden he started pulling in his Squadron Supreme because he wrote the 12-issue miniseries and the graphic novel in the 80s. And this is the 90s to early 90s. Then he started pulling in characters from his DP7 New Universe. He pulled in Starbrand. Anything he worked on, he started like bringing the characters into Quasar. So if you were a Mark Grunwald fan, you got to turn around and have these characters continue and stuff, right? Buttman, I got a video I made about 3 months ago about why I'm not watching the Netflix show of Sandman. I hope it's great. I hope it's cool. I know one person in real life that has watched it and they were like, hey, it's not bad. That's their review. I have reasons I'm not going to watch it, but I hope people watch it. I hope it's great. I hope they get a second season, third season. I hope they do all the Neil Gaiman stuff. And I hope people get back to the books too. I hope they discover the books because there's no doubt in my mind there's just things they cannot capture from the books in the show. There's just no way. There's an overveiling darkness in there that I just can't see translating anywhere else. Coloring, Dave McKean covers, just the whole chemical composition of everything that's in those books, those X factors that you can't put your finger on. William Byrd. Checked out the con today, RobCon. A bit disappointed. So few comic dealers, but one dealer with some 70s, 80s Ghost Rider. I needed saved it for him. He saved it for him. Yeah, there's not a lot of comic book dealers this time. He's had much shows with better it was more comic book oriented in the past and stuff, especially when he made it to Viking Hall. But anyway, just doing that. And then there's things that were going on. I'm a James Robinson fan, and this makes sense now. But James Robinson took over the Justice League in like 2009, and he brought in all these secondary characters. Instead of Wonder Woman, you got Wonder Girl. Instead of Superman, you got Mon-El. I think Mon-El was in it, and Supergirl, and you got Starman from the Blue Alien from the series. You had Congarilla. James Robinson brought in a lot of stuff, just sort of had fun. And it's just like in 1983 and 84 at DC, they let a lot of people take a lot of liberties with some storytelling and was just like, go for it, especially like the Flash, Trial of the Flash story where the Reverse Flash got killed and stuff like that. And this was sort of history repeating itself because pretty soon New 52 was coming, so it didn't matter. So 50 cents, just piecing together James Robinson's little story there. I think, yeah. Just a few things there, a little Doomsday, anyway, crappy. And then these two issues are significant. These are issues I thought I had. Maybe I had one day, but I'm getting the first, I think it's 28 issues of Excalibur together. I'm like maybe missing one issue. Then I want all the Warren Ellis issues. Chris Claremont, Alan Davis sort of faded away from Excalibur, and then all of a sudden these other teams came in through the issues of the 30s. Then Alan Davis came back, wrote and drew a superb run of Excalibur. So it never surprised me how this one was hard to get because there were people who were Phoenix fans, Rachel Summer fans. But this one, Nth Man was out. I remember having this, and apparently I didn't crack it open. But it's issue number 27, and you would have to recognize this character dressed as Galactus from Nth Man. But I had to get it. Why? Because I found out it may be the last time Chris Claremont and Barry Windsor Smith got together. It's some fantastic Barry Windsor Smith art with Bill Sienkiewicz inking Barry Windsor Smith. So yeah, I had to get this. Apparently, there's no way in the world I would have given this up if I had ever cracked it open. Just amazing. But anybody remembers the X-Men runs about once a year, twice a year, something like that? You would have Barry Windsor Smith just come in and do a Life Death issue, Life Death 2, this amazing Wolverine issue. Seems like about once a year you had a great Barry Windsor Smith story with Chris Claremont, where he was doing the inking and the writing and the coloring and stuff. So apparently that may be in the last time they were together. We got here lead paint. Come on, phone. You can work with me. There we go. A nice lesson, however, for those variant cover collectors out there paying $20 or $30 for a variant cover. Someday they'll probably be going for 50 cents. And this hobby can make you very cynical, apparently, especially in the last few years of stuff that they've been putting out and some of the content on YouTube and stuff. You got to be careful there, right? And then I just picked this up, 50 cents. I know there's several issues of X-Force that are keys, and people want to make keys. They convinced themselves that this is the first appearance of this character, and this is the first time the real Domino showed up, and this is an early appearance of Deadpool. I had a bunch of these, and I probably sold them because I've had 2 full runs of Deadpool's first ongoing series that I just stuck on eBay, probably like 2010, 2013 or something. So I'm sure I got rid of a bunch of the X-Force issues and stuff, right? But X-Force is one of the ones where people are always trying to say, you know, these are keys and stuff, right? That. And then I got an upgrade on the Young All-Stars. I like this character, Iron Monroe, because going back to Crisis on Infinite Earths, it really screwed over Roy Thomas with his All-Star Squadron and Infinity runs that he built years building up, and then all of a sudden we got one Earth because Roy Thomas was king of Earth 2, if you will. So he had to go back and turn around and replace characters that DC had said did not start in the Golden Age. And that was your Wonder Woman, your Superman, your Batman. So he ended up coming up with pulling these characters from pulp and really obscure Golden Age characters to replace those in the new continuity for the All-Star Squadron. And Iron Monroe is the son of Hugo Weaving, the Gladiator, from the pulp novel The Twinners by Philip Wiley, which is a book that highly influenced Superman. Yeah, I got this now. I know I probably showed it before. So anyway, it's one more adaptation, a little bit of in the Gladiator proper actually shows up. Hugo actually shows up in the series. And that's the only issues I've kept. I've had a whole run of that Young All-Stars, but it's just save your money. What we got here? Okay. So these 2 were 50 cents, and I was sort of glad to see them, which just surprises me. But all I need is Solar, Man of the Atom, number 8. All right. I never run across it. It's overpriced, in my opinion, online. I'm very patient. To me, the Valiant years was just the year that Jim Shooter was writing and running everything, you know, Magnus number 0 all the way through to, when did he leave? Anyway, all the way up to Unity. We'll say the end of Unity, and that's all you need, right? So anyway, this is an early issue, number 4, which blew my mind for 50 cents. This thing is mint. But this one ran all over me just a little bit, but I went ahead and got it. I've already got it. This is Magnus Robot Fighter number 3. It would be in mint condition if somebody had put it in the bag correctly. That dog ear happened because somebody just shoved it in the bag. You can see it plain as day, right? Well, why did you get it? Well, first of all, I took it out of the bag. I fixed the dog ear, and I was checking something. And these early issues had coupons, and they had trading cards inside of them. You would take the coupons and it would devalue the book because once you collected the coupons, you could mail them in to Valiant and you'd turn around and get a 0 issue mailed to you with all the coupons. So when you look at these up in any kind of price guides, or if you find these out in the wild, you need to check to see if the coupon's in there because they're the ones worth more money. So people were, and it was Jim Shooter being like, we're going to keep the print run low to save cost, of course. And then he had it to where people would have to buy doubles of the book to get the coupon and have a mint copy. So all of a sudden, they also came out with these trading cards inside of them. So yeah, that's why I got this. These trading cards are in there. I think I have a Harbinger or 2 that I found in the wild that still had the coupons in them. Things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of things about the early Valiants that when people start getting meticulous, I feel like they will in the coming years. They're going to be looking for complete books that are complete. And I'm pretty sure they've already started doing that where they were putting digital codes in comics when they were bagging them. I know it was real big about 10 years ago. Isn't that wild how much time has gone by? So I think things like that are going to happen. Oh man, we got some people watching. It's fantastic. Awesome, guys. So what we have here is I just went ahead and got this. It's an Alex Ross touched cover, if you will. And I also think I have something else. Sorry, guys, my camera is just slowly trying to fall. I'm going to have to give it some Viagra. Some Viagra on this. Okay. If anybody has any, I have none. So anyway, but this is a crossover. Savage Dragon. What's cool about Mike Mignola and Eric Larson a little bit in the 90s and early 90s and stuff is they put horror out their characters. You know what I mean? Like they let them pop up, with no big deal, get them in there and stuff. And this one you have Superman and the Savage Dragon. Eric Larson drew the cover. Alex Ross came in and painted over it. So I just went ahead and got this because it seems like there's a crossover of Superman and Savage Dragon that DC did. This is the Image one. I might be remembering wrong. But that's the problem. There were so many places that Savage Dragon was popping up and Hellboy was popping up that for some reason they cross over in my mind. But Tim, what's the connection? Why do those two characters? One's red, one's green. You put them together, they're Christmas with those colors and stuff, right? Because the other day, as I was going through my books, trying to organize them and get to where I can at least walk again in my comic book room, I ran across those early issues of Savage Dragon, probably in its second or third year, where it's Hellboy and Savage Dragon together, So, yeah. But anyway, this is your standard. Eric Larson has a lot of fun with this stuff, right? I'm not going to comment on the last couple years, but a lot of fun in there. A mix of Silver Banshee, Savage Dragon villains, Superman villains, and all that stuff, right? So, yeah, he really went for it, which I think is kind of cool. And this splash page reminds me of when he actually drew Superman, I feel better, in the 80s when he crossed over with the Doom Patrol. If you go way back, Paul Cooper-Bergen was writing the Doom Patrol book, and they crossed over with Superman over robot parts because of Lex Luthor. Robot Man's parts and Metallo parts were somehow connected or something. So, of course, you had to have Superman and the Doom Patrol crossover, Okay, nice. So, a few things, other things that I got is, of course, the Inhumans number 12. I'll pick these up all day long. I got the first 3 issues. I just have the first one left. I did a little bit of purge because I could never find the rest of the 12 issues during the Marvel Knights era. This completely disappeared from the shelves. And I think I was having a kid at the time and things like that, so it wasn't really a priority. So, yeah, if I find these in the wild, I'll pick them up. I've run across a trade here and there. I may get bored, but 50 cents, why not? Go on. And then this was a joy to find more Valiant stuff there, man. But what was it? 43 issues, maybe? They're not in order. Yeah, 43 issues. So anyway, I don't know if the print ring got low or not, but it's about 2017 or 2018. I went up to Baltimore Con, went with Charlton 66, and we ended up having a talk with Bob Hall, and we got the entire story behind how Bob Hall ended up coming on Shadowman and having to save the book because it was secretly Valiant's first failure, if you will, as a book with all their books, how they were all so hot back then in the day. And he comes on and does all this stuff, gives us the behind the scenes talk that Bob Layton gave him about about a few things for the character, and he saw the acclaim coming to take over Valiant and some of the changes they were wanting to do. And that he gave us the real ending to Shadowman that he wanted to do it, because Shadowman's hook is that the Valiant universe took place in real time, and in 1993 he found out that he was going to die in 1999. So after he knew that he was going to die in 1999, he started getting real reckless and doing some horrific things because he knew he was going to live, jumping off of buildings and stuff like that. You gotta understand, so anyway, the book ended with issue 43. So I'm needing, 4 or 5 issues now. Shadowman was a fun book. Bob Hall he not only does he do comics, but he writes plays. They played up the jazz in this. He's a saxophone player. And when Shadowman started out, Steve Eaglehart had him as a jazz player and stuff like that. And then there was things he wanted to do that wouldn't let him do with the character. So he ended up going to the Ultraverse and making Nightman, So if you go read Nightman, you're going to see that he is also a saxophone player too. So everything that happened in Nightman, I'm assuming, is what Stephen Englehart wanted to do in Shadowman. Still a cool book. That's the last issue. This is my second copy. I'm learning to just go ahead and grab all these last issues because of the low print run. I said that for years. I just never took advantage of it. You know, it's not a big secret. So there's 25 issues of this book, and I don't have them in my CLZ app, and I'm thinking it's because they are all probably like in rough condition. Might as well just start all over. I got a trade that actually adapts it's an adaptation of the movie. And it's one of my favorite cheesy B movies, even though it shouldn't be a B movie. You know, I really dig it. But it's Nightbreed. There was 25 issues in the Epic line, right? And I'm sure this is an upgrade, but this is the last issue also talking about that there were 25 issues. And this is issue 22 here, but I think I want to get this because it continues the movie that was based on the book. Oh my goodness, what can I not think of his name? It's like there's a whole monsters live underground, if you will, right? In a whole society, a secret monster society, if you will. And then they had a prophecy of Boone. I think his name was Boone. That somebody's going to come and kind of be their savior and stuff. It kind of made the humans the bad guys, right? There was a serial killer out there that was more bloodthirsty and cruel than all the monsters that were actually there, if you will, right? So yeah, that's what that's about. And that's Boone there. And it's one of my favorite 80 movies. I still have the neon green, probably 89, 99, and 1990 when it came out. Clive Barker directed it and wrote the screenplay. And I loved it. You know, it's like to me, it goes Hellraiser 2 as a movie, and then it goes Nightbreed, and then the first Hellraiser. And that's really all the Clive Barker movies that I think are worth watching, in my opinion. What we got here? William Byrd. We got some comic talk. I so badly wanted to like Savage Dragon back then. It's a big green dragon in a police uniform, for goodness sake, but I never liked Larson's storytelling. The first 3 issues just didn't grab me. It's all right. Comic Book Frog. What's the movie called? I think it's Nightbreed. And so we have people catch up here. Nightbreed. I think the movie is on Tubi if you want to watch it. There's a director's cut. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, man, it's a great B movie, but I don't think it was meant to be a B movie, okay? But I dig it. I watch it, and I'm like right there. It's in that year where by the time the 80s were awesome. The 80s were awesome, man. When you were living in the 80s, you were having a good time. But it reached a point when you got to 88 and 89 that certain things were happening entertainment wise and everything. It was like, just kill it. You were ready for the next decade. That's what a lot of people don't really talk about because they're so nostalgic and want to go back for the music and the good times and all that stuff that they forget by the time like 89, you were just like, kill it with fire, man. Let's move on and stuff, right? And if you watch Nightbreed, you'll kind of get that. Things got as dark as they could. You had bands coming out that the hair bands have gotten so repetitive that you literally had a band called Danger Danger writing songs called Naughty Naughty, and they had another song with that alliteration, you know, repeating the word and stuff. And you were just like, ugh, you know. Thank goodness I found things like the Violent Femmes, American music, and some stuff like that. The Pixies Doolittle music and all that stuff. The sound of the 90s came from those 2 bands, in my opinion. Husker Du also, but I'm going to go on, man. So I think I need 2 issues of this now, too. I'm about to complete these runs here, but Legion 94. Now, it's called Legion, and when you look it up, you got to put the dots in there because this all stands for something, right? But this is some great space stuff, right? It's a little bit more serious, but it still had that Keith Giffen humor in it when the book started out. But what was interesting is that whatever year it was for us is what year they put on the book. We started as Legion 91, then it was Legion 92 in 1992. And about the first 25, 26 issues, man, I think they're fantastic. They're really cool and they're cheap. That's the whole thing. Then Alan Grant took over and they brought in Mark Waid and some other things were going on. But basically, this has ties to the Legion of Superheroes in the future. They actually pulled it off. And the longer you hang in the book, the more some of the characters pop, you know, will pan out for you, right? I just like the book. It's a solid comic book. It's not literature. It's not full of keys and stuff like that, but a lot of inside jokes and stuff when you get in there. And it's not jokey, ha ha. Okay, I mean, it's still got some levity to it. They did a lot of things with Lobo in it also and stuff, but this is the last issue. It ran for 70 issues before it turned into Rebels with 0 Hour. But anyway, these are just the fill-in issues. I kind of get the feeling if you sort of liked what Marvel did with the Annihilation and things like that, you might get a kick out of this, because to me, this actually had the feel of the Suicide Squad movie, the tone, if you will. Okay. I'm not saying that James Gunn read this, but feels like some of the humor kind of matches. And it's not a funny book, believe me, right? But yeah, just filling that in. I could talk Legion all day long and stuff. You know, Barry Kitson. All right, we got our last stack here. There's some good stuff in this one, and there's some stuff I'll laugh about. Okay, cool. It'll be the first time watch for me. Godspeed with you. Godspeed with you. Because whenever I pop up a movie or something like that, the first question my wife asks is, how old is this? Yeah, Trickster came out in '89. Yeah, hey, baby, tell me what's your name, because the way you look and the way I can tell you got no shame, and it's all right, because I'm just a man. See what I'm saying? That's 1989 for you. A lot of these 0 Hour time uses were fun. Yeah, there's a fun era. Looking back at some of this stuff, I can appreciate it more than when it came out. Believe me. Okay, so one of the series, and anybody I talk to, these dealers I talk to, some of these comic book fans that have been around for a while that I talk to, so you know, all this stuff, they talk about this series like I could kick myself for not carrying on with this. I have a one shot that crossed over with Neil Gaiman's Sandman, right? And this is when I started paying attention to this series, but I still didn't pick it up. But it was called Mystery. Oh my God, Sandman. I don't want to say Mystery Theater, but anyway, it's a one shot. It's a graphic novel, and it's where Neil Gaiman's Sandman meets the Golden Age Sandman. I'll give you a spoiler alert. It lasts one page. Okay. Okay. All right. They actually meet in one big splash page. The next page is sort of, they're not so much interacting, but they found a way to make both the Sandman meet, and it was fantastic. Right. But that's when I noticed this pulpy feel, because it focuses more on the Golden Age Sandman, right? But the Sandman Mystery Theater series ran for 70 issues in an annual, and I've been talking about it the last couple of months. I keep chipping away, finding more and more issues. So I found issue 49 and issue 62. But anybody I talk to when I pull this out or something like that, there's people who remember it fondly, or they remember it's one of their friends tell them you're an idiot not to be watching and reading this book and stuff, right? But it's like great pulpy adult material stuff taking place with great Guy Davis art and stuff. You can smell the lead in the gasoline inside the gasoline. That's how great the art building this world and stuff, where you're in New York in the 30s and stuff, right? They treat the Sandman. You know, he's an eccentric playboy who has spent time in the Orient, if you will. And it's just good stuff. He deals with cults and serial killers and, you know, real grounded stuff. And then they do have some throw-ins there, like with the Mist and stuff where I'm at. So anyway, 2 more issues, knocking it out. Some great covers in here, man. But you talk about a gem of the 90s Vertigo, if you will, right? This is the one. Love it. Love it. Yes, they all came from the con. I think I'm about to hit the 12 books that I got for $10, and everything I just showed you was 50 cents. But I got mixed up, and there's a few more in here. And it seems like there was 1 or 2 keys in there, except I did pay a little bit for Charles Vess's book that I bought off of him, and then for that key, the Death of Jonah Hex, I didn't even hag on that. I paid what the guy wanted for it, which wasn't outrageous and stuff, right? Let me see here. Okay, I'm not going to be exact here, right? But there were, like I said, they got a little mixed up. But I got, like I said, there was a guy selling out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He came up to Abingdon. That's probably, I want to say, 3-hour drive for him, maybe. But anyway, he came up there and he had several dollar boxes, and It was actually pretty good, some good stuff. I was glad to get with him, but I whittled it down to 12 issues off the guy. And I just looked at him. I said, "You take a 10 for this?" And I got 12 books for $10. So there's a mix in here. There might be one or two in here from the 50-cent bins and stuff, right? But believe it or not, this book has, hold on. I'm on a phone, so it takes me a minute to catch a few things. Sandman Midnight Theater. Thank you, Paolo. Sandman Midnight Theater is that one shot where the Golden Age Sandman meets Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and it's really cool how they do it. It makes perfect sense. They even figure out a reason why you've never heard of the Golden Age Superman talking about Superman, the Golden Age Sandman talking about Neil Gaiman's Sandman when they met. They even figured out a way to do that. It's fantastic. So anyway, like I said, 50 cents. But this book right here, there's a Superman story that I absolutely love. It's a crossover event within the Superman books. It could have been a main event, but it was called Panic in the Sky, and this is the prologue. And they brought in the Justice League and Shazam, and they go after Brainiac and all this stuff. It's great. The Justice League cartoon by Bruce Timm even gave you a wink and a nod on who the real bad guy was in their series finale, because they had an episode called Panic in the Sky. And that's where you find out that Brainiac, or excuse me, Darkseid may not have been the real bad guy, if you will, and stuff, right? But anyway, Panic in the Sky. But this is an epilogue issue. And what's funny about this is I think this Panic in the Sky ran weekly or a month through all the Superman books. And I found out there's a prologue. Excuse me. Yeah, prologue right there. I don't know if it's where Supergirl is on the cover or what the deal is, but I have never been able to find this in the wild. And then when I do find it after decades of, 50 cents, patience is a virtue. Now, this is what's funny. You read a lot of comic books, and sometimes certain little scenes will pop in your head, and then you don't have the comic book, and it drives you nuts because, you don't know what book it was in. And this is funny. This is all right. But I've told stories in the past. My brother, who's 4 years younger than me, since he was 6 years old, lived with his grandparents. We had different dads. And then when he would come down on the weekends, I would walk him about a mile and a half to Scotty's Pharmacy and Magic Mart, and we would get comic books, and we worked it out to where we didn't buy the same comic books. Now, this kid, 4 years younger than me, had his pulse on the future. He spotted Rob Liefeld, Deadpool, and Cable first, knowing they were going to be something, and I didn't think it was going to be a big deal or anything like that. It's things like that. He did that with a lot of stuff over the years, right? But one of the books that he liked was from Now Comics, and it was Ralph Snart. So I would read his Ralph Snart books. I've got a little bit of a collection of mine, right? And Ralph Snart is basically a guy who would drink beer and go nuts, okay? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it is what it is, right? And it comes with little cards, and some of them, and they were sealed in the bags. And I would read his, and I liked it. I'd never if you had told me 20, 30 years later I would be missing those books and having fond memories of them, I would have laughed at you, right? So anyway, there is one of the scenes that drives me nuts that I keep buying these Ralph Snart books until I find the scene, is basically you open up. What it is some Ralph Snart books had 2 or 3 little mini stories in them. And there was one in particular where I remember the first page of the story had this beautiful little stone arch bridge with a little creek running over it out in little mountains in the background. And Ralph Snart's got his little yellow Volkswagen parked beside the bridge, and he's pissing off of it. And I ended up drawing that over and over when I would be doodling and stuff, right? So let's cross our fingers that I have found that book so I can stop buying Ralph Snart books, all right? Because a lot of them come sealed. They were like that when you bought them at the store off the rack. So you just can't flip through them a lot. See, we got some Ralph Snart fans out there, man. Ralph over Rob any day. Ralph Snart, excellent stuff. I love that book as well. Yeah, I dig it. My brother's the one that discovered it. I take no credit, man. He got the books. I would read them. I've enjoyed, Okay, Comic Crack, Scott Connor. As I live and breathe, good to see you. Did you go to the con as well? Yes. Say hello, Scott. Okay. God, where did I get this? Wait a minute. I'm missing some books here. I have another stack up there I'm going to have to grab. Be right back. All right, so glad I noticed that. Okay, guys, hold on to yourself because these were 50 cents and they're not mint, right? But I found a Marvel Premiere number 26. I got this because it looks like a Kirby cover with Vince Collada inks, but I don't know. And I got to be careful. I have to be very careful because, you know, if you're in a big rush, I mean, a lot of people watching this already know this, right? But if you get some Bronze Age books from Marvel, you need to take your time because you're going to find pages missing, or you're going to find that somebody has cut out a Marvel stamp and stuff. So I took a leap of faith and I was like, 50 cents, how bad could it be? So I'll get this. Now, the interesting thing about Marvel Premiere is that issue 26, it's sort of in between all the keys. There's a Frank Bruner, Doctor Strange running there that's worth quite a bit of money. There's the first appearance of Iron Fist, I think, all around it. There's some $100+ more books that were all around this, and Hercules was just sort of in the mix there. All right. Justice League Quarterly, I've decided to get all of these because they have early Mark Waid stories. When I say early Mark Waid, he'd already been an editor in the comics for a while. He became a superstar after Justice League Quarterly when he took over the Flash books, going by memory and stuff. So Justice League Quarterly was this like an extension of that Giffen DeManti stuff where you get, you know, I think 80 pages or something, man. You got a lot of extra filler there, if you will. I got this, number 5. I needed this. They came out with a 6-issue miniseries called formerly known as the Justice League, and I could not find number 5. Not a great story. If there's ever a purge, I'm probably getting rid of this. But this is where they got the band back together. Giffen, DeMantis. I can't believe this was almost 20 years ago. I waited that long to read it, and I should have waited longer, you know. So there you go. Yeah, Kevin Maguire penciling. And this is what I'm talking about. When I got to the car, I looked at this one because I was excited. My favorite era, I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan, right? Give me those first 200 issues, and then maybe up to about 214, and then skip ahead to the Byrne stuff. So, yeah. Kirby, Lee, anything that happened up to about 215, because Byrne did some of those. Keith Pollard, Marv Wolfman on back, Joe Sennett. And then you skip this little weird era where Sienkiewicz was drawn like Neil Adams in it and stuff. Then Byrne comes on. But anyway, I was real excited because I was like, ooh, I'm getting a deal here. And it was like issue 139. I mean, we're going way back. John Buscema on here, you know. And I get in there and the book is complete. But when I say complete, I mean, all the pages are in there except for the first page that's ripped out and somebody's kept it in there. What do you do? 50 cents, right? And then issue 200. This is the one that I've wanted for quite a while. Now, all I need is Incredible Hulk number 200 because that was one. These two books did not have covers when I was reading them as a kid. Hulk 200, Fantastic Four 200. And it just kind of blows my mind how those books, you know, they came out when I was in kindergarten. I don't understand how it didn't have covers on it in my house. The stepdad bought it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of, I don't know. There was a lot of marijuana smoking going on. So I don't know. Maybe they did something. Maybe they needed to roll. Maybe they ran out of papers or something and made a big doobie. I don't know. Another Justice League Quarterly. Not a lot to say about that, but I suspect that's a early Travis Charest. I don't know. Cover, but I don't know. It's got little. This was an era where more and more people were trying to kind of start drawing like those image guys and stuff, you know. This is a minor key. First appearance of Roulette, who I think she popped up in the Stargirl show. She was on. She definitely popped up in the Justice League cartoon. But JSA Secret Files and Origins, and I'm telling you, the JSA series that started in 1999 with James Robinson and Goyer, and they had all these little prequel issues leading up to it, and it all really started with the death of the Golden Age Sandman. Who was that? They had a great artist on it, Steve. I'm not going to remember his name. I thought he was going to have a bright future, man. I thought this guy came from the school of Neil Adams a little bit, the way he drew and stuff. No, he's no Neil Adams, but his art was just fine, right? But anyway, they came out with these Secret Origin issues and stuff, right? Secret Files and Origins #1 had the first appearance of this version of Hot Girl, which got huge. And then this one has the first appearance of Roulette, which I couldn't believe was 50 cents. And I don't know where this guy bought this, but apparently some of these books were 40 cents at one time. All right. Now we're definitely into the dollar books. We'll just go ahead and say the rest of these were 12 books for $10. I don't know. Got a little mixed up here. But yeah, another little secret JLA, Secret Files and Origins of the JLA, whatever, you know. But I'm laughing, right? Because I can't believe I bought these. And this is out of curiosity. This was on the spot. Because about the time that I was going through these boxes, I got about 3 boxes down, and this really nice guy, I almost called him a kid because of the age difference, just kind of slid beside me, went about 2 inches into the box, flipping, and he went, "Aren't you Howler Mouse?" Very nice guy. I had a little talk with him. So sorry I can't remember your name. If you're in here, chat me up there. And so as we were talking and stuff, he pulled out like an Alan Moore Swamp Thing out of this dollar box and stuff that was beat up. He apparently knew one of the guys that was working this booth or something. Not a huge exchange, but we were all involved and stuff, right? And then I ran across these, and I was just like chuckling. And I decided if I didn't find anything better, I'm going to get them and stuff, right? I do not hate Tom King. I have no personal hate towards Tom King, but I do think that it was hilarious that at one point people actually said he was the second coming of Alan Moore. He's the next Alan Moore. And I'm just like, have you not read Alan Moore? And then I've slowly watched his decline with people talking and YouTube channels and stuff. And funniest thing I ever heard is that, you know, he worked for the CIA, but he should be paying us for being his therapist with what he does in these comics and stuff. And I got to tell you, man, his Mr. Miracle, his Mr. Miracle 12-issue miniseries, all I can say is that his Vision book, whatever that Vision family, whatever it was, book, must have been phenomenal for people to still trying to act like he's a great writer, right? So I pre-ordered issue 1 of this, went through it. It was exactly what I knew it was going to be, but I ran across these, right? This is it missing issue 2, 6, and 10, right? Variant covers, but this is him doing Rorschach. Now, why am I curious? Because I got told that he's pulled Frank Miller into the story at some point, okay? So, yeah, I found these Rorschach issues, 12 books for $10, less than $1 is what I paid for them. And I'm all about trying to, that's interesting. We have the comedian on the back of one book. And I'm all about the bloom came off the rose when it came to people messing with the Watchmen way back at before Watchmen. That by the time that we had Doomsday Clock and stuff, I got it. I checked it out. I wasn't surprised that it fell flat. So, yeah, I don't get upset or real emotional or anything. Maybe a little cynical in my voice and stuff. But yeah, I got the Rorschach. If anything, it's some interesting art on here, bringing back the entire Rorschach suit that was in the preliminary designs. From just what I'm seeing, and I kind of like this cover. I like the whole idea of walking out into the light and having the Rorschach face on the doors and stuff, right? So right off the bat, there's some things I can actually get a kick out of and stuff, right? That looks all right to me. So yeah, if anybody's read this Tom King Rorschach, give me a heads up. Graphic Man is here. What's up? Let's look at some comments. I got 2, 3 things. Scott and Comic Crack and Paolo are talking. Jonathan Suku, most times I find these old issues, they are water damaged and smell. Rarely do I find anything that could actually keep around. Yeah, it happens. It's just part of it. Oh, Graphic Man is here. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Hope you got my message about where I'm going to be this week, because I'm about to tell everybody. Jonathan Suku, for what Tom King did to Wally West, I do have hate for the guy. Yeah. Sleepy Reader. We're eager to find a new Alan Moore. The Vision raised hopes. I got it. This Vision, I mean, I'm curious. I really may have to track down a trade or something of this Vision story that Tom King did. What do we got here? King allows his personal self-hatred to dictate his writing and is a real problem. He takes it out on characters. You know, I probably would have a more thorough actual review. Again, I'm not getting personal about the person, just the work and stuff, right? And he has taken some liberties and taken some ways I don't know, directions that I've read. But I learned the same thing with like other writers I don't like. It's their work, not them. I don't buy Bendis books. Every time I given him a chance, it fell flat. And I still will tell people to go get his Powers. His Power series, all volumes of his Power series have been fantastic in my mind. And he needs to be writing cops in any settings. The guy can write some crime novels or something, crime stories and stuff, even with superheroes edged in there. But Tom King, I never really was blown away by the guy, and it was kind of blowing my mind that people were blown away by him. And then just to watch all of them, see what did I just say a minute ago? The bloom come off the rose and stuff. And every time I mention Tom King, I'll lose viewers. I'm not joking. If I say Tom King, they get out, not because they're afraid to say something bad, but because they're like, oh God, it's Tom King. I've actually been told this by them. Anyway, and then the other thing I found was really cool. All right, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe magazine. Not only is this thing in phenomenal condition, I think this is from 1986. There's your Brave Star. Winter of 87, excuse me. Winter of 87. We were well into the She-Ra years, which explains Hordak. There's your little Brave Star advertisement. But I have several of these. I love these magazines. I love G.I. Joe magazine. I think there was a Thundercat magazine I may have one copy of. And then there was Muppet Magazine. And I tell you what, I would love to have my Muppet magazines from back in the day. I don't care how that sounds. Those things were fragile. Those in Epic Illustrated had such fragile covers that I'm surprised any have survived anywhere and stuff. And the Muppet magazines are priceless there, in my opinion, how much they are, right? But what I loved about this is when you get these, you need to make sure, because most of them came with posters. And this has both posters in it. It actually gives you instructions. Let me find it. It actually gives you instructions on how to take the posters out correctly. You got to lift, take out your staples, and then lift the book straight up, and then how to unfold it. You get 2 posters per issue, right? But I should have grabbed my DVD set before I came up here. But what I really loved about this, and I can't believe this was in 1987, because I'm pretty sure I was watching this in 83 and 84. But anyway, there was a BBC show of Robin Hood with this dude on it, and it was fantastic. I have them all on DVD. It was BBC, and it got broadcast maybe a season behind what they were doing in Great Britain there or whatever, about a season behind on the Showtime channel. So it was really blowing my mind that this made it into a He-Man book and stuff, because I have the DVD set downstairs. I don't really brag on it. You're either going to like it or you're not, because it's very slow storytelling and it's of its era, but I absolutely love Tales of Robin Hood and stuff like that. Little John. So yeah, getting these are fantastic. A little bit of nostalgia, but at other ends, like, I love this art and the colors and stuff is just fantastic. And for you guys that went out there, it cracks me up. Every now and then I will buy an action figure, and it's my hang up, not anything. There's certain things I buy and I actually love, had no shame or anything like that. Then there's things I buy and I just kind of shake my head. But I got to tell you, just going by the weight, remembering the originals and stuff, I got the Superpowers Dark Side. Now, I had a chance to go to a toy show last weekend in Boone, North Carolina. I've gone to one toy show in Hillsville. I've learned I don't need to go to these toy shows, right? Because when I walk in, I'm sitting there automatically thinking whether I'm right or wrong. That I'm like, these are the guys that go in, and this is why you can't find anything at the Walmarts. This is why you're paying over all your prices. Your prices are hugely increased on eBay and stuff, right? I look around and I'm like, you went in there and wiped them out at Walmart the minute they came out, right? So I was really surprised to find this and 2 Batman figures. There was no Superman figure, and there's also no Batwing or Supermobile. But I looked at this and I'm like, well, that's a cool looking Dark Side. I will buy Dark Side figures all day long. Now, as somebody who owned the 1980, we'll say 5 Superpowers Dark Side, that thing that had some weight on it. That was a good chunk of plastic. If you get Slythe from Thundercats, it has that weight to it. These things had weight to them, right? This feels hollow, you know what I mean? And it's a great design. And that original Superpowers also had a cape on Dark Side, and it seems like you pushed a button on his back and his lights lit up and stuff, right? So for Todd McFarlane hitting us with that nostalgia in the Superpowers, I think it's a cool display. I don't know the playability of it, right? But the Dark Side ones was solid. Your other superpower figures of the 80s, it was hit or miss. It seems like those things could take a beating, but some felt like they were a bit better made than others just because they all had something they would do. But anyway, yeah, I just impulse buy. It was there. Somebody at a toy show had not wiped out all the superpowers, so it had probably had something to do that I was on lunch break and they probably had just put a few out and stuff, right? So we'll look at some comments, and that's about it tonight. Yeah. Here we go. Everyone says that Andre the Giant played Bigfoot in the $6 Million Man series. I contend that was actually Alan Moore's son's costume. I think it's one of those things that'll be a debate for the ages. Was the Bigfoot in the $6 Million Man Alan Moore, or was it Bigfoot? Argument to come, I was there at Walmart the day they came out. They allowed one guy to buy them out as it was, and it was irritating. Yeah, that's why I think it's ridiculous. The Walmart really needs to put a cap on how many you can buy. Is that McFarlane's logo at the bottom? Yeah. There we go. I hope you can see that. McFarlane Toys. It's fun. It's fun. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, investors. I got you. Nice. Okay, guys. Well, that is it. I want to get some of this, as per usual. I want to get all this put up. If you're in America, in the States here, hope you enjoy your holiday. I'm working, and there won't be a show next weekend because about 3 or 4 months ago at work, I'm a social worker, so you constantly multitask through the day. All right, it's phone calls, computer, paperwork things and stuff like that. My wife called me in the middle of the day, and that was unusual. So I was thinking, I better see what this is, And before I think I barely said hello, and she was all excited because she and her son, my stepson, love Insane Clown Posse, right? So they have found out that Insane Clown Posse is playing at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival that's going on 4 hours away somewhere here in Virginia at one of the racetracks. Paolo told me what racetrack it was Friday night. And she bought tickets and had already booked the hotel. I had nothing to do, and it was in September. So I had plenty of time to make sure I had the days off to get my life together to arrange that and stuff. First time my wife has ever pulled anything like that before or since, but you got to admit that's pretty cool because as I started looking up, this thing goes from Thursday, there's a pre-show we're not going to be seeing, from Thursday to Sunday. So there'll be no show next week, right? And I may finally get to see Anthrax. I may finally get to see Gwar. I have a Gwar story where I think I met the guitar player, Beefcake. Yeah, Beefcake at a gas station. Well, I might tell that story later. But anyway, Gwar, Tenacious D, Anthrax, Alice Cooper, Buck Cherry. Yeah, I'm all right with Buck Cherry. I like Buck Cherry. I bet somebody out there is like, I bet you do. Anyway. So there's going to be, and then there's like tons of other bands that I've heard of. Lamb of God, not into them at all, but there's this band that may be there called Fallen Reverse I might check out. A lot of these younger bands and stuff that is screaming. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, there's like about 5 or 6 bands that's going to be fantastic to see. And it cracked me up how they stuck Three Doors Down and Tenacious D in the middle of all this stuff. Ice Cube's going to be there. I think Ice Cube, but they've done things where they have like Ice Cube and I think Anthrax playing at the same time. They got 4 or 5 stages going all at the same time. And then they turn around and they have Insane Clown Posse and Alice Cooper playing at the same time. I have tried to see Alice Cooper 3 times since the 90s, and all 3 times he canceled. But I got a 3-hour show out of the Scorpions. I got an extra half hour out of White Zombie, not just Rob Zombie, White Zombie. And I can't remember what happened the 3rd time. Okay. Oh, I cannot wait to see Anthrax. Yeah, Anthrax and Insane Clown Posse at the same time, so we'll be in 2 separate places. We've already talked it through, Sounds huge. Yes, I hope to enjoy it. I really do. I'm looking forward to it. Really am. Paul David, hey Haller, this is David. We met at the Small Salem Comic Show several weeks ago. Glad you were there, and thumbs up for Guar. Good to see you there, Paul. Man, yeah, I definitely remember you. We blamed you. We blamed you for us running late or something. Funnily, Paul. Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for commenting, man. I'll go back and look at this and see what we can do there. Go see Alice instead. Already know. Don't waste your time on Rob Zombie. It was cool to be able to say that I saw the original White Zombie, if you will. You know what I'm saying? It was fun back then. It was so much fun. Okay. Well, guys, that is it. Be honest with you. Hit the bell. Make sure you're subscribed. Thumbs up, and all that great stuff and everything like that. But no idea when the next video is coming, so definitely hit that bell, because I could wake up at 1 and 2 in the morning like I did a couple months ago and like, let's just do a show. It could be coming from anywhere. Also, I may just shoot a video on the road and upload it at the hotel or something if we stay there long enough or something, if their internet is fine, but I got data and stuff like that. So I don't know. If I have an opportunity, I may do something. But I'm going to get all this stuff up, and I got to read that Jonah Hex. Got to read the Death of Jonah Hex. Considering it was almost 45 years ago, I'm way behind, So thanks for everybody coming over. Tat came in right at the bottom. Good to see you, Tat. All right, man. Glad I saw you before we got out of here, brother. All right. And later, everybody. Later, guys. Be excellent to each other.